So you want to get more clients from your existing audience without having to post anything new. Well, give me the next 5 minutes and I'm going to show you how you can take one piece of content and use that again and again to sign clients without your audience being sick of hearing it. I've been saying the same thing online for more than 3 years and it still works better than ever. One of the things that I tell my clients all the time is that repetition means more sales and a more bought in audience. This is why I just created a document for my client showing her how she's going to take her content that we've mapped out already, that's proven to convert, and turn it into multiple pieces of content so that she can just sit down once a month and have all her content done. Let's say this client is in the beauty space and she provides a service that basically helps match the right skincare product to specific health markers or skincare conditions that women are generally worried about as they're getting older. So this is a really high converting piece of content for her target audience because it speaks to what her audience really cares about. It showcases her unique mechanism through which she achieves this, because she could be talking about, moisturizer, she could be talking about sunscreen, but she's talking specifically about early signs that you should look for in your skin and how to take care of it with the right skincare today. Now, this piece of content is already one of the 5 to 10 pieces of content that we know will reliably convert. Every business should know this. What are the 5 to 10 pieces of content that if you posted today, you could generate sales like that? That's for another day. What I want to highlight today is most people will post about this once, it does really well, and go, what's the next piece of content I can create that's going to give me a similar result to this? Whereas I look at it from a very strategic lens. If something has been proven to convert, you're not going to bore your audience by repeating it again. In fact, they're probably going to thank you because they're like, oh my gosh, I saw that reel and then I forgot to save it, or I forgot something, I put my phone down and then it was gone, but I really wanted to come back to it. And I'm so grateful that, you're in my algorithm and you're showing it again, because not everyone gets to see it the first time. And actually, I just wrote this down as a funny thing to remind my client about. Let's say, your husband says to you, hey honey, when you go to the shop today, could you please get more toilet paper? And so, like me, I live off of my calendar, and I also like to set alarms for little reminders that I have throughout the day so that I can remember to go and do those things. And I also like to write it down. These are 3 different touch points that I've already had, which means there's going to be a higher likelihood of me following through on it. I'm not like, oh, how could you remind me again? I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you. Yes, we needed that toilet paper. I'm going to make sure that I remember. And so here's how I remember. And so we need to be that for our customers. What you want to be doing with this high converting piece of content is then taking it and turning it into micro segments. So I think of each piece of content as having a specific job. And from that, I came up with 5 other jobs that I can give this piece of content. The first job is what I call the hook and tease. This is where you're hooking them in, getting them interested, and showing them just enough that they want to come back for more. The second thing is what I call the value snack. This is where you're giving them just enough that they're not overwhelmed but can take tangible action or get a sense of what it is that you have to offer. And so there might be multiple steps or multiple things that she talks about within the early health markers. And so we might just specifically hone in on one or a very tiny part of it, because your audience won't actually remember everything that you say. And so it's actually better to be more specific and focus on a micro thing than it is to go super broad and try and give an entire lecture on that thing. The third job is what I call the engagement boost. So this is when I specifically want my audience to be engaging with me. And so yes, that does mean not every single post is going to receive that level of engagement. The fourth job is showing behind the scenes. So a lot of the times the clients that I work with, they practice a thing that they are teaching. They've integrated that into their life. And so what we want to be showing is behind the scenes. This is also another way of showing credibility and social proof. If you're showing you practicing the thing, this gives visual people an opportunity to see the outcome that you're going to help them with. Last but certainly not least of the jobs today is a soft call to action. And I say soft because on our feeds or on our profiles, we want to be making invitations. We don't want to be hard selling, because it is essentially a one-way conversation at that point until they've engaged with you and actually initiated that conversation. It's the equivalent of the first date analogy. You're not going to try and propose to them on the first date. Of course, there are times for harder call to actions, but that's for another day. This is how you can turn one piece of content into 5 different formats that is not going to leave your audience overwhelmed. It's not going to leave your audience bored. but is actually going to leave them wanting more and coming into your DMs or your sales flow. And so this is what I consider the busy but lazy marketing guide to repurposing content. If you want me to actually send you a breakdown of how I would apply this with examples, let me know. Drop a line down below. I will happily share that with you, and you'll be able to walk yourself through and see how you can turn one piece of highly converting content into multiple pieces of content to the point where you'll never run out of content ideas again, and they're all going to be like 24/7 sales machines. Have an awesome day, and I'll catch you on the flippity flip.